Good evening, Dr. Morse, Injury Experts. Just wrapping up week 4 Sunday night. We just saw Josh Allen struggle, and we saw a fantastic game from Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens to defeat all but one AFC East or AFC team in general that are undefeated, except for the Kansas City Chiefs, who don't look really good. There is only one team that has played all 4 games that is also undefeated in the NFC, and that is the Sam Darnolds. Go figure. We will see the Seattle Seahawks play tomorrow night. There were 12 injuries we need to talk about tonight, and some potentially really big ones to several big name stars. But before I do that, do me a favor and check out this advertisement right here.
Looking to up your game in sports betting? Meet OddsJam, your ultimate ally in the world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sportsbooks under its belt, OddsJam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sportsbooks. This means you can lock in risk-free bets by betting on both sides of the market. But that's not all. OddsJam also provides a positive EV calculator to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to optimize your profits. By using OddsJam, you're not just betting smarter, you're betting responsibly for long-term profitability. And here's the kicker. They offer a 7-day free trial. Ready to give it a shot? Use the code MORSE, M-O-R-S-E, for a 35% discount on your first month. Secure your bets with confidence. Make informed decisions with OddsJam.
All right, thank you very much for watching the advertisement. If that's something that interests you, do me a favor and check it out. Use the code that I mentioned, and it can definitely be something that can help you win some money. So there were a fair share of injuries today, a couple that unfortunately are going to really mess us up today. So Anthony Richardson suffered an injury early in his game. And when that happened, initially I said, not a big deal. But he never returned to the game. So is it a big deal? No, I don't think it's a big deal. This is what I call a hip pointer, which is a painful injury on the side of the hip. Usually, where's my little hip model? See this little side of the hip? In the back. This right here is where the glutes attach. Very important. But when you land hard, these can bleed and bruise, and they hurt. But there's a chance he could come back next week. I mean, I wouldn't blame him if they decided to sit him, because he didn't, he hasn't looked very good. He looked better today. But Joe Flacco came in and it was like, hey, Michael Pittman's relevant. Hey, Josh Downs look great. We will talk about his partner in crime now. Jonathan Taylor unfortunately suffered the dreaded high ankle sprain. But there may be good news, because usually when I say high ankle sprain and a running back, it's a rough 2, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and sometimes they're never the same until the following season. But Taylor might have gotten lucky. Why? Because he suffered this injury in the end of 2022, and it ended his season because he required surgery. Now, because he required surgery, that likely means he had something called a tightrope put through here, through this bone to cinch these two together. And when that happens, you can obviously still suffer a new one. You saw it happen today, but usually they're not as bad. If you remember last year when Kyren Williams had a high ankle sprain and then he missed a little bit of time and came back like nothing ever happened, yeah, that's not common. That's what happened to him, because he had a high ankle sprain that was on the ligament that was previously repaired. Now, best case scenario, he plays next week. I don't think he's going to be able to play next week. Probably a week or two out is, maybe he misses 2 weeks, something like that, like a Joe Mixon, something like that. But realistically, this could have been much worse. I still think I'll give him 2 weeks. He's been looking really good. Doesn't catch a whole lot of passes. Could you potentially sell him? I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't blame you. Travis Etienne suffered a shoulder injury pretty early on. Tank Bigsby looked really good. Etienne came back in the game, and then it was pretty much split the rest of the game. But Etienne struggled, and last week, Tank Bigsby had the shoulder injury. So I don't know if they're trading shoulder injuries. It didn't look overly concerning. Probably a mild AC, if I were to guess, but nothing overly concerning. The Denver Broncos' Tyler Badie, he took a big shot on the field and then walked to the sideline and just pretty much collapsed. And he needed to be backboarded off. This was a back or a lower back injury. These are weird. These can be kind of like a weird sciatic pain. Hard to tell if it was a fracture or exactly what happened, but I hope everything's all right with him. He was reportedly moving all extremities and everything, but just a little unique situation. Cordarelle Patterson, who was trying to help Najee Harris, who had an awful day. Remember, he had that shoulder injury, and that may have been playing a significant role into this, and I had some reservations about that. And obviously, Jaylen Warren wasn't in the game because of his knee, and we were expecting Patterson to have a better day, but unfortunately, he had an ankle injury, and I don't know the severity of it. But we will see how that plays out and who can suit up next Sunday night against Dallas. The biggest news of the day was the weirdest news because Patrick Mahomes, I don't know how this play came out, but he ended up trying to tackle, and when Rashee Rice was blocking, his leg was taut and he was, blocking, and Mahomes literally ran into the side of his leg, full force with his shoulder pad, the shoulder. That was it. Likely tore his ACL, and that's all she wrote. And he has been a stud. He has been incredible. And Mahomes really struggled today, continuing his struggles from last year. Yes, Kelsey looked much better, so that was good. Worthy did a little bit better, but again, he hasn't been amazing. So I'm curious, are they going to trade for someone like this? This is a big deal. This is definitely a significant injury. The data, early tests show ACL. That's kind of what I think it's going to be. Just unfortunate injury because he was having such an incredible season. He would have been top 15, probably top 5 if everything went perfect. But now it's done. Chris Olave had a really good game, better than I thought he was going to, and then retweaked his hamstring. Not completely surprising. I think he came back, but he was hobbling pretty good. Now we're going to have to see if he's going to miss more time, because now he just re-injured the injury. He re-aggravated it. So sometimes these does cost them more time. He didn't miss any time, but we'll have to see. Tonight we saw Khalil Shakir kind of had a little bit of a right ankle tweak. Got lucky with that late crazy bomb, but in the end, it didn't have a great game per se. But he probably should be fine. I'm not overly worried about him. Another guy that was really high on coming into the season, who just had a crazy history of injuries, was Christian Watson. And unfortunately, he suffered a left high ankle sprain today that's been confirmed. This could keep him out potentially a month. He might go on IR. Just depends on kind of where they're at with it. Usually the Packers are pretty conservative in that regard. Although Jordan Love was kind of brought back a little faster than I thought he should have been, and he didn't look very good today. We will see Dontavian Wicks step up and have just monster potential, and Jaden Reed is legit. The final few here, Trey Palmer actually caught a touchdown today. Basically, I think he was temporarily in the game for Mike Evans. It was just kind of fluky. And then, unfortunately, he suffered a concussion. And because this game was on Thursday night, the Bucks play, I think, the Atlanta Falcons, Trey Palmer won't be able to get back in time, so he'll be ruled out for that game. George Kittle had a ridiculous catch above 3 Patriots in the end zone, and he probably got hit in the rib during that play. It was hard to see exactly. I don't know how much he played the second half, but we'll have to keep an eye. He came back and actually looked pretty good returning from that hamstring. And then Taysom Hill, after scoring 2 touchdowns of his own, ended up leaving the game with an abdominal injury and never returned. So this could be a hernia. This could be sometimes it's a rib, or it's like a kidney, like a weird thing. Abdominal strain is possible too. Sometimes I've even heard appendix described as this way. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Either way, some big potential name injuries. A lot of guys that are still banged up. There's probably 65 to 70 on my list. I will fill you in as much as I can. Shout out to the sponsor for this video. Shout out to the 100,000 people that have followed me on Twitter, which is bananas to me. And I will give you some new content, new videos over the next couple of days, as there's a bunch of guys coming back. We're going to talk about Nick Chubb. We're going to talk about TJ Hawkinson. We're going to talk about AJ Brown. We're going to talk about Puka Nacua. We're going to talk about Cooper Kupp. We have a lot of updates coming. Make sure you tune into the YouTube channel over the next 3 to 4 days. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week, and there will be a preview of week 5 coming out on Wednesday. Take care.